A rare storm will bring a multi-day severe weather outbreak, a temperature battle zone, and also a hurricane to the Bahamas as we head into the middle of next week. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. Good Saturday morning out there to you guys. We got a lot going on here in this video, and I do want to know, what's your favorite thing about fall? Definitely leave down below in the comments what your favorite thing is about fall. And all the new subscribers out there, if you guys have not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my important weather forecast updates in the days, weeks, and months to come. So without further ado, let's get into the forecast here later on this afternoon. We have a ridge that is going to continue to build across the southern and eastern parts of the United States. A positively tilted upper level trough will continue to dig down across northern California and the Pacific Northwest later today, and that will deepen further as we head into your Sunday going into early next week, which will amplify this ridge across the southern plains with more heat building across Texas, Oklahoma, and much of Kansas as we head into later on this weekend. Looking at your temperatures this afternoon for Saturday, September 17th, widespread upper 80s to middle 90s from portions of western Missouri, Kansas, all the way down to Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and the Red River down there into North Texas. We could see widespread temperatures there in the low to mid 90s across those areas. As we head into your Sunday, much of the same upper 90s can be expected from Kansas down into Oklahoma, North Texas here. We do have some cooler air up to the north. To the north of the jet stream, we have some cooler Canadian air dropping south across the Dakotas and into Minnesota as we head into Sunday here behind that storm system. So refreshing fall type temperatures can be expected there as we head later on into your Sunday. But we do have to talk about a multi-day severe weather outbreak because the Storm Prediction Center has two different areas with a slight risk, a level 2 of 5 on the risk category here this afternoon. This is for portions of north central Minnesota, just to the north and west of the Twin Cities, as well as portions of Des Moines, Iowa, getting back toward Omaha, Nebraska. There we have the potential for another level 2 of 5 for severe weather later on today. And this is pretty much the hazards going on to later this afternoon and this evening. We got a 5 to 15% shading there, with the greens being 5%, the yellows being 15% chance of damaging winds that could be up to 70 miles per hour. Hail also could be up to around $50, maybe golf ball size potentially, especially in these yellow shaded areas into central and northern Minnesota and southwestern portions of Iowa there as well, including the Des Moines area as we head towards later on this afternoon. And we also do have a very appreciable tornado risk, especially across north central Minnesota there, just northwest of the Twin Cities. We have a 5% shading there of a few isolated tornadoes possible during the peak heating time frame today. So they definitely have to continue to keep tabs on the radar to continue to watch these storms. Looking at the composite reflectivity using the HRRR model here, one of the most accurate short-term models to see what the radar could look like later on today. So this morning we have a couple of isolated showers and storms bubbling up from Minnesota all the way south into Iowa and then back towards portions of Omaha, Nebraska. These storms for the most part should remain sub-severe, but however, as we get into the peak time frame of the heating there, late afternoon, early evening, we could definitely start to expect more numerous showers and storms sparking up across Iowa, portions of Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and some of these storms could be rotating. We could be seeing some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and also some quarter to golf ball size hail. Definitely not out of the realm of possibility with some of these storms. And then as we get into the evening hours here, getting towards that dinner time frame, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, we'll have more storms dropping southeast across portions of northern and central Minnesota, and these could be rotating supercells later on today. And we also have a threat for maybe some more rotating supercells potentially and more hailers and more wind producers across western and central Iowa as we head into the evening hours. And then this will start to congeal into a kind of an MCS or mesoscale convective system that will drop south across portions of Des Moines, getting towards Kirksville, Missouri, and the Davenport Quad Cities as we head into your Sunday morning into the overnight hours. And this will kind of turn more into a heavy rain threat and a wind threat here overall as we get into the overnight hours. And the reason why we're seeing this, we have a strong low-level jet across portions of the Central Plains feeding up all the way into portions of Iowa, and on the nose of the low-level jet here, that's where we'll see the most intense severe weather across Minnesota, Iowa, western Wisconsin, and perhaps parts of Missouri there. So that will be something to watch later on today. But it doesn't even stop today. We actually have a much larger area, more organized area of severe weather on your Sunday, a larger slight risk extending into much of northern and central Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and northern and northeastern Missouri. This includes Peoria, Illinois, the Quad Cities, and Davenport, Davenport, Iowa, Ottumwa, Iowa, Kirksville, Missouri, and just to the northeast of Kansas City. And we even have a marginal risk for the Chicagoland area, Milwaukee, getting up towards Green Bay, and portions there of Michigan, including Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, and Lansing, Michigan. Some of these areas impacted by that marginal risk as we head into tomorrow. Looking at the hazards for into tomorrow here on your Sunday, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, again, a possibility across north central Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and northern and northeastern Missouri. Also the threat for some hail that could be quarter to golf ball size hail in those same zones as well, and also a 5% tornado shading across western Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and extreme northeastern portions there of Missouri. Even a broader 2% shading there across portions back towards Des Moines, Iowa, and toward the Kansas City area, including Chicago. So we'll continue to watch that as we head into your Sunday. But as we get towards, the early portion of next week, we're going to start to see another ripple in the jet stream, and that's going to continue across the northern plains and the upper Midwest as we have mid-level disturbances kind of rounding this ridge with all the heat to the south. We got a temperature battle zone going on, and in between there, that's where that active pattern will reside. And as we get into Monday, we're going to have a marginal risk, a level 1 of 5 here across portions of eastern Ohio, the entire state of Pennsylvania, much of New York, and northern New Jersey as we move into your Monday with potentially more damaging winds, more large hail, and perhaps even a weak tornado cannot be ruled out as we head into Monday. Looking at your kind of thunderstorm risk categories to kind of give you a refresher on this, we do have a marginal to slight risk of the next few days, a marginal risk. You can expect isolated severe thunderstorms, usually limited in duration, coverage, and intensity, but we still could have some stronger storms in that category. We also do have a level 2 risk, which actually means scattered severe storms are possible. These are also usually short-lived and or not widespread. However, you can see isolated intense storms in a slight risk, so that is something we'll watch as we head through the next couple of days. But like I said, we got some changes on the way as we get towards the middle of next week. We do have that massive trough here, the upper level trough across portions of California and the eastern Pacific. But we have another trough starting to dig in across portions of the southern Canadian provinces there of Saskatchewan and Manitoba as we head into Tuesday, just to the north of all this heat and to the northern periphery of this ridge. And as we get into next Wednesday, we'll see a strong cold front develop and drop south across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and into New England as we head toward the middle and late portion of next week. And as we get into Thursday, September 22nd, you can see all these cooler anomalies taking over across the Ohio Valley and the Northeast and even the Mid-Atlantic as we head into that time frame. So that will be something to watch. We still have the ridging off to the west with some heat across the Rockies and northern plains, and then that trough finally kind of ejecting into the Pacific Northwest from the eastern Pacific as we get towards late next week. And looking at your temperatures with this fall front moving in, we got temperatures widespread in the 90s across the Missouri Valley, the southern and southeastern United States, but you can start to see hints of some cooler temperatures across the Dakotas, the northern Minnesota region back to eastern Montana, widespread upper 50s to mid 60s there on your Wednesday, September 21st. As we get into Thursday, the first full day of fall equinox here, look at these temperatures across the upper Midwest and northern plains. Places like North Dakota, the northern areas there into Minnesota will struggle to reach the middle and upper 50s as we head into your Thursday. And look at your low temperatures as we head into Thursday night. We could drop into the upper 30s, if not middle 30s across some of these areas into the Dakotas, into Montana, and the northern portions of Minnesota as we head into Thursday. And even farther south towards Kansas City, we'll have low temperatures in the upper 50s, perhaps all the way south to the Red River here into North Texas, lows that will drop into the middle and upper 60s as well. So a refreshing cool down for many as we head towards late next week. We are also concerned about the tropics. We have Tropical Storm Fiona spinning across the Windward Islands as we speak, and this will continue to, move itself westward towards portions of Puerto Rico, towards the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and eventually into the Bahamas, as it does look to become a hurricane as that time frame, comes around into the middle of next week. Looking at the satellite picture, looks pretty impressive, a pretty compact system, pretty organized system across the Windward Islands here. You can see these, the shooting tops of these thunderstorms across portions of the Windward Islands with the whites, the pinks, the purples here on the satellite imagery. Those are thunderstorm tops that are upwards of 50,000 feet. So definitely some pretty intense thunderstorms are ongoing with some heavy rainfall and some winds down there. But the track is the key, and we're going to continue to kind of fine tune this in the coming days. But the ensemble tracks are starting to converge on a solution that this is going to move over portions of Puerto Rico, getting over portions there of the Dominican Republic, and then moving at least into the eastern Bahamas, and then kind of curling out here across the western Atlantic. Still a close call to the United States across portions there of Florida and the Carolinas and portions of the East Coast, so we'll still have to continue to watch this over the next several days, but it does look like here for the most part this is going to miss the mainland United States here and kind of curl up into the western Atlantic. But we do have to watch the Bahamas, we do have to watch Haiti, we do have to watch the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, as they could have direct impacts with this system as it becomes a hurricane. The official National Hurricane Center forecast calls for a hurricane as we get into later on Tuesday afternoon, and if not into Tuesday evening, and continuing through all of the day on Wednesday as it moves towards the eastern Bahamas here. And we could be seeing a pretty intense hurricane as it kind of moves to the north. We got all of those warmer waters I was showing you here in my previous videos. That is still in play. So when you have low wind shear, you have a lot of 80, 85 degree Fahrenheit sea surface temperatures. That is a breeding ground for potentially a major hurricane. And looking at the intensity here, a lot of these models are still kind of all over the place here on the intensities, but generally a Category 1 to Category 2 hurricane is pretty likely, I do think, across the western Atlantic, and some of these models are kind of an upper echelon of that into portions here of Category 3, maybe borderline Category 4 strength on some of the outlier models. We'll have to continue to watch to see where the trends go, but I do think a Category 1, and if not a Category 2, is pretty likely with this system as it moves towards the Bahamas. So let's check this out using the European forecast model here, a 1002 millibar low just to the south and east of Puerto Rico later on this afternoon. This will track its way towards the Dominican Republic as we move into early next week on your Monday, moving over the island there, and we're going to continue to see a 996 millibar low at that point. We're going to really start to see deepening of this low pressure system and this hurricane as we get towards the middle of next week with all those warmer waters and the low wind shear. We have a 971 millibar low into the eastern side there of the Bahamas, possibly making a direct hit towards the Bahamas there as well. So that will be something to watch towards next Wednesday's time frame. And again, it even intensifies significantly as it heads up there towards the western Atlantic, probably off the coast here of the Carolinas, but definitely kind of a close call. But it does look like a 942 millibar low at that point, with a very major wind maker potentially and a lot of surf across the eastern Carolinas. So that was something we'll watch. Looking at the surf with the significant wave heights out there, yeah, we definitely could be seeing toward the eastern Bahamas wave heights over 20 feet. And as we kind of strengthen this system farther towards portions of the northeastern Bahamas, some of these wave heights could be approaching 30 feet. And as this really starts to intensify here, kind of what we call a bombogenesis here with this type of low pressure system here deepening very quickly, that's what's called a bombogenesis. And that's what we look to see as we head towards late next week, with wave heights that could be approaching 35 feet across portions of the western Atlantic, and maybe even some rough surf across the east coast of the United States. So even indirect impacts to the Carolinas, portions of coastal Georgia, coastal Florida, all the way up the east coast with some of the rough surf out there. So that is something to watch. And looking here back to the east across portions of the southern Atlantic to kind of see what we got longer term, maybe another impressive system that could be coming off the African coast as we get towards late next week as well, that we'll have to watch across the southern Atlantic. Looking across the eastern Pacific, still equally as impactful across these areas. We have a tropical storm Lester across the southern Mexico coast, hugging the coast right now, and then we have a 90% chance of a system really developing within the next day or so here, the next 24 to 48 hours, just to the south here of the Baja of California. And looking right now at Lester, this is going to remain a tropical storm and then move inland here towards western Mexico here and drop back to a tropical depression as we head into Sunday morning, but still bringing some impacts, some tropical storm impacts. That's why we have tropical storm warnings across the southern coast there of Mexico, where we could have tropical storm force winds and also some some tropical rains here with a few inches of rain here across these areas over the next few days. But looking at that system that has a 90% chance of development across these areas, this will continue to move its way to the north and west toward the Baja of California and Cabo San Lucas potentially as we get towards this weekend here and really into early next week. A 996 millibar, a pretty impressive tropical storm is likely across these areas just to the south of the Baja of California. Pretty similar path to K, I do think, across these areas, and that will kind of peel away to the west-northwest over the open waters beyond Monday into the middle of next week. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below here, and subscribe to the new, to the YouTube channel. All the new subscribers out there, thank you guys so much. I definitely appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody. A great Saturday, and I'll see you all in the next video.